I've had some interesting wild camping places. We came up this road here and the guy said this is his camping site. So we camped here. But actually there's a broken gate there, and I walked up there today and there's a nice little flat space up there, but he said this whole road belongs to him. It's all part of his lodge, he says.
So we've just driven through a rubber plantation, and what these guys are doing, they're making rubber balls, proper rubber that you make for car tires, and then they're surrounded with rubber bands.
All made from the trees.
All made from the trees. So we supported the work. He started wanting 15,000 kwacha and eventually sold it to me for 3,000 kwacha. But it's a very bouncy rubber ball we bought for one of the grandkids. It mustn't be forgotten that David Livingstone was essentially a missionary and was always seeking to see where mission stations could be established, and particularly in Malawi, which was called Nyasaland. He discovered Lake Nyasa and wanted mission stations to get set up. The first one, Bishop Mackenzie, was in the south of the lake, and Mackenzie died of malaria. Bishop Laws then set up 3 stations, the 3 oldest churches in Malawi, Cape Maclear, and then Bandawi here where we are now, and then at Livistonia where we were yesterday. And you can see the details. Dr. Laws, 1881, set this one up, but he was at Cape Maclear earlier on, and then went up in 1894 to Kondowi in Livistonia. And so these are the 3 oldest churches in the whole of Malawi. There's the old pulpit. And the floor of this church, all made from brick. Very beautiful. We're on the shores of Lake Malawi, which is the last of the great ancient lakes in the Rift Valley system. Lake Malawi is 580 kilometers long, 75 wide, and goes down to a depth of 700 meters. Of all the lakes, it has most species. It's got 700 cichlid species alone. So it's beautiful to be here. It was discovered by David Livingstone in 1859, when he and his party, returning down the Zambezi, saw the Shiri River coming in from the north, and they went up, and over a number of years and quite a few visits, they discovered Lake Nyasa, which is now Lake Malawi.
So we're camping on this lovely beach here in Malawi. You can see there's the rocks and everything nice. Oh, and I see Roz is doing his regular morning workouts. How you?
97, 98, 99,
oh,
100.
Roz, that looks tough, man.
It is, friends, but you know, when you see the outcome and how it affects your body, then it is worth it. And I just think it's definitely worth doing a bit of exercise to make your body like this. I'll go and put on a t-shirt and we'll catch you later. Another lovely day on the beach today. They boat trips out to Bird Island, I think it's called. But this is the little hotel. We've been staying in the campsite, but we've had lunch here with Ewan and Jane and their children, family. Lovely. Ewan and Jane, lovely that they came out and spent the day with us here at, what's the place called? Senga, and the hotel is called? Sunbird Livingstone. Only Gil's got the facts, he's clueless. Love you guys, take care, bye. Bye, Clara, love you. I'm taking a video, say goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, where's your sister? Julia, bye. Livingstone called this lake the Lake of Stars because of all the little lights of the fishermen back 180 years ago. They're using lights those days to fish. The sun coming out on Lake Malawi as the fishing boats return from a night of fishing for kapenta. They'll now lay out their fish on trays for them to dry as we leave Malawi and start to move south towards Mozambique. Again, we hear a fish eagle in the background. Just watching these guys run. Looks great. Looks great, these guys. Hello, Jess.
Blantyre village in Malawi. Normal scene from Malawi, informal markets everywhere.
We are in Blantyre now in Malawi, and I'm standing in what is said to be the oldest permanent church building in between the Zambezi River and the Nile. It was built between 1888 and 1891. As a result of Livingstone's death in 1873, Christian mission was suddenly reinvigorated into East Africa, and the first mission station was 1875 at Cape Maclear. Then, because of malaria, it was moved higher up in 1881 to Blantyre, and then finally in 1894 right up to Livingstone on the Nika Plateau. All these moves were to get away from the danger of malaria, and the key player was Dr. Robert Laws, that moved the mission station, and he spent 50 years in Malawi. So this is basically the first permanent church that was built in the Malawi area.
Beautiful stained glass windows. It's incredible when you think that the people were unskilled in terms of understanding the architecture and everything. They experimented with building bricks on top of each other while they were still drying, and without any mortar. Quite amazing.
A question often asked is the impact that David Livingstone had on South and Central East Africa. We're at a town called Blantyre, named after David Livingstone's birthplace. There are the mountains here are called the Livingstone Mountains, and actually the Livingstone University is up in Livingstonia, up on the Nika Plateau. My dad was born in Livingstone in Zambia. I grew up opposite a school called David Livingstone with a street called David Livingstone Avenue close to me. I now live in Port Elizabeth. There's a Livingstone Hospital. And throughout Africa there are monuments and buildings and hospitals and universities named after David Livingstone. So his impact was huge for a lot of good reasons, not only because of his Christian endeavors, but not only because of his discoveries, but also because of his challenge and opening up the horrors of the slave trade to the world, which eventually ended shortly after his death. So he has had a huge impact positively on this whole region, and it's honored. And even to a little thing that many of the schools in Zambia, the girls wear tartans, and that because Livingstone was a Scots Presbyterian, a missionary.
The bell tower has plaques inscribed with the names of the people who over the years, right from the 1800s when it first started, gave their lives to developing missions and churches and ministry in Malawi. And yeah, it's really lovely. On each of these little plaques here you can see there goes Rory walking back to the car after he's spoken to the Women's Association. But it says on all of these plaques, to the sacred memory, and then it says who it is, and it finishes with, he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it.
Delicious lunchtime snack which we've had a few times. on the road. Are you happy, Ross?
Nothing like your roasted mealie when you're traveling.
Coming down the escarpment from Blantyre. On the other side, look at all that water. It's been a very high mountain to come down, and we are heading towards the border with Mozambique, and we're going to be leaving Malawi this evening. This is us saying goodbye to Malawi. We're going through the smallest little border post I've ever been in my life. We've got all these children sitting around our car. It's right in the middle of a village. The man came out of his house just to come and pass. He's the same man for customs and excise, and that little man popped in to say, oh, he'll stamp the passports, and then we're going across the border to Mozambique. So bye-bye Malawi, and there's all our little friends who are standing around our car in the customs post. We are actually right in the middle of a little village where everybody lives. That's the border post, everything in one. Can you just believe the color of the sky? It's just like it's glowing. It's absolutely beautiful. Arrived quite late last night after coming across the border, and we got to Mozambique and we met Lucas.
Yes.
And he invited us to stay at his house where we were safe, and this is where we parked.
Yes.
And slept so peacefully.
But today we hit our biggest obstacle. We intended to cross at the Donna Anna Bridge, which is marked on the maps, but we're told now that the Donna Anna Bridge across the Zambezi is a rail bridge and a footbridge. So then the only other way out is to go east, and that's across the Shiri River. And Lucas told us, listen, there is no way across because they haven't run a ferry for a number of years because it broke down. Therefore, we hit an obstacle in the sense that we had to go all the way back, either into Malawi or up the Zambezi River, and then cross at Tet,
yes.
and then back down south to Chamoy, and then back into Gorongosa. We would have missed Mary Moffat Livingston's grave. We would have gone an extra 800 kilometers and spent 14 hours on a tortuous road. It reminds me of an old joke about a chap in Ireland on a dirt road asking a farmer how to get to London. And the farmer said, you can go this way. Then he said, no, you can go that way. And he said, no. And after thinking a bit, he said, if I'm going to London, I wouldn't start from here. Last night when we went to bed and prayed, we thought, if you're going to Kaya Bridge and Mary Moffat's grave, you wouldn't start from here. See you on the journey.
See you. Have a nice John.
Thank you.
And this is Domingo as well.
Domingo. Lucas
you.
is also a pastor.
Yes,
here.
of the Church of God and Children of Christ and Sons of Christ.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Sometimes on this trip, when we found difficulties, things go wrong, and then somebody comes to help. And we always say, it's an angel in disguise.
Angel in disguise.
So you are an angel in disguise.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is the little town that we stayed in last night called Mozambique.
We're now looking at the Donna Anna Bridge, which we hope to cross into Zambezi and then go east to the coast to Kaya Bridge and then down to Gorongosa and see Mary Moffat's grave. We're now told we cannot travel on that bridge. It is only a pedestrian bridge and a train rail bridge. So we're now going to have to go probably for 14 hours and 800 kilometers, 300 k's on a dirt road to get back to where we wanted to get to. So it's quite sad that that seems to be the reality. Everyone's telling us the ferry that could have crossed the Shiri River east is broken down. So our only way is on this long round trip.